Good morning, everybody. This is Quinn with Names and Numbers, coming at you with our very first Monday morning meeting video topic. Today I wanted to talk about peer pressure or social proof and its effect in sales and marketing. If you were ever a teenager, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Your friends pressured you into doing something stupid and you had to explain yourself to your parents. At which point your mother probably asked, well, if they jumped off a cliff, would you do that too? Well, the research actually shows that, Mom, yes, absolutely, we would jump off a cliff. We hate to admit that we're so hardwired to be influenced by other people, but social proof plays a huge role in life and very much so at work. In the academic world and around the office, we like to call it social proof since peer pressure is how you get addicted to drugs. One of the very best studies I've seen on social proof out there comes to us from Robert Cialdini at the University of Arizona. In 2004, he and his crew worked with homes in California on their energy use. They were trying to reduce the amount of electricity that people were using. So they went out and they randomly assigned homes different doorknob hangers. And each hanger had one of 5 different messages. One of the messages was a very general, hey, it's summertime, you need to reduce the amount of electricity you use. One had to do with saving money. One was about saving the environment. Another was about being a good steward in the neighborhood. But the only one that had any effect on how much energy use was consumed in those homes was the 5th and most important headline, and it said, your neighbors have reduced their energy consumption and you should too. They had access to the meters and they could see how much energy each home was using and then compare that and see what changes had been made. And sure enough, that last one, your neighbors are using, is the only one that had any statistical significance in reduction of energy use. So let's use this magical power of social proof. How can you use it with your sales team? Well, one of the big ways that you can do it is, and I hate to even suggest it, but you can compare your sales reps to one another. A tiered sales report that shows everybody ranked out can actually be a real motivator for sales teams as they see where they're at on that list. Those who are lower generally tend to work harder to get higher up on that list. You can see a lot of activity based off of where people are ranked. What we do want to do, though, is we want to avoid what they call the magic middle, and that's where the reps who are higher up on the list look at the average and they say, well, I'm way above everybody else, so I'm just going to slack off because I'm better than average. That doesn't always happen, but one of the ways that you can combat that is by just taking your top 3 reps and comparing them against each other. Or if you wanted to, you could take your reps' performance from the previous year and compare it to this year. If you're a sales rep and you find yourself on the bottom half of the list, pick one thing to improve and start working on it right away. That'll probably significantly bump your ranking and you can move up on that list. If you're above average or even way above average, it's important not to get too complacent, but to continue to push yourself to do more and more and be better and better. When it comes to working with customers, one of the very best social proof things I've seen used is pretty universal across all industries, and that is the testimonial. Testimonial can be really formal. You can have a written letter that you take around and you show your customers. It can be reviews online. It could even be just a simple email that you printed out with one of your customers talking about how great your customer service or your speed or whatever it was that you did good. You can take that around, you can email it. The big thing here is that a testimonial shows other people that they've tried you, they've taken the risk of doing something new, of working with you. They had a good experience and you're going to have a good experience too. That's basically what a testimonial does. Online reviews are another variation of the testimonial. Of course, having more reviews is really positive. Again, it's just a way that people can show, we had a great experience with this customer. You don't need to worry about it. We've already tested him out. We know that he's not a jerk, or this particular person isn't going to rip you off. It's just a way to help people understand that they're going to have a good end result. So online reputation management can be really important in that case. And then again, if you have the opportunity to print out or quote one of your customers who says really good things about you, don't be afraid to pick that up and walk around with it and share it with other people. Another way that you can paint a clear social proof picture is by showing your customers any way that demonstrates that your product is being used a lot. A great example of this would be a long line outside a nightclub. The line itself actually sends a signal to people who are passing by that particular nightclub has got it going on, that's where things are happening, that it's cool, and other people have found that nightclub really awesome. So how do you do this? Well, in the phone book industry, we have two really good forms of social proof that help other people understand how much people are using our product. The first is we have headings that are full of ads. When you go into a customer and you can open the book to a heading that's got a lot of ads in it, that sends a signal to that customer that, hey, all these people are having a good experience. There's obviously something here. You should give it a shot as well. That's really great in headings where there's a lot of ads. In headings where there's not so many ads, that of course can work against us. But that brings me to my second point. In the phone book, we have what are known as call tracking lines. Now, this is a unique phone number that's found only in that particular phone book, generally in one ad, and we can actually go through and we can count those calls, we can record them in some cases, we can tell you how long they were, we can look and see if it was a landline versus a cell phone, and we can spit that information out in a report and give our customers on a monthly basis how many calls they're getting out of that particular ad. Well, that's a really good form of social proof. In fact, we would be out of business today, a print phone book, right, without the proof that those calls were actually being generated by the phone book. In fact, the customers that track the best are usually the easiest to renew. They already know that the value's there. They see that social proof. They see those phone numbers coming in and in and in. They get all that information. They just know it's working. They sometimes have even calculated their ROI based off of making the connection between phone numbers. So it can be really, really powerful. Online, of course, there's lots of reports, Google Analytics for your website. There's lots of ways that you can track that information. And it's just really important that you get all of that data when you're looking to sell a customer and help the customer understand, hey, this is my website. You can see how many unique visitors are coming. You can see how often they visit. You can see how much time they spend there. Here are the number of calls that are coming off our phone book ad or off online. Some other media, advertising, it's not quite as easy to get that, but anything you can do to show your customer that there's a lot of use, that there's a lot of around your particular product or service. The last thing that I'd like to address today when it comes to social proof is don't be afraid to name drop. Now, this is kind of funny because it is a little bit of social proof, but really it's just one person's social proof. Shaquille O'Neal is a great example. He sponsors all kinds of stuff, and hey, if it's good enough for Shaq, it's good enough for me. That's a great example of name dropping in a commercial. Maybe you've done work for a really famous person, or maybe you've done work on a really famous local landmark that everybody would recognize. Take pictures of that. Let's say that you work on the local Capitol building and you maybe plumbed the bathrooms. Don't be afraid to take a picture of the bathroom and show off that you've done good work for important places. If you've got a local celebrity or somebody that you've done work for that most people would recognize, don't be afraid to ask for a testimonial and share that with their permission. You know, the George Foreman grill would just be another electric grill lost on the shelves at Target if it weren't for George. So don't be afraid to name drop. So there you have it, a quick introduction to social proof and peer pressure in the workplace and in sales. Remember, we're hardwired to follow other people and to use social cues as a guide for what our behavior should be like. We tend to pay a lot of attention to celebrity. We also find wisdom in following after someone who's already gone before, already tested the waters, and already had good success. So my challenge to you is to go out and find an example of social proof, whether it be at work, in sales, or even on television, and leave a comment below on what you found. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. It'll help us produce more of these as we move forward, and please share. Thank you very much. Again, this has been Quinn with Names and Numbers. Have a great week.